There we go. There it is. I guess I can move it away. Maybe we can give a little warning and get everyone in just a little bit after 7. We'll get started in a minute. Thanks. Thank you for coming up. It's a lot easier. You can go from there. Great. Well, welcome. Thanks. Thanks for. By the way, thanks for your emails. Thanks for your letters. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming tonight. This is a massive task, and I know you're all here to thank everybody and praise everyone. Is that right? Is that everybody's here to do, or thank you. Or I had another reason why there would be a lot of people here tonight, and actually this came from an East High person. They said that everyone here tonight is really happy that they're going to have a lighted and turf field to play at. That wasn't the reason. All right, okay. Well, a little levity to start tonight. These are very difficult tasks. Nothing easy about any of this, and no one certainly is making light of it. But we are here to say that we're in an interesting community, because our community continues to grow. Continues to grow in a time where, if you understand the trends, and I'll bet everybody in this room does, we just came out of probably the worst economic situation in the history of the United States, second worst economic situation in the history of the United States, the first being in the late 1920s. And this one, that we're just starting to come out of, and we're not out of it in housing, certainly, and that's what we're here to talk about. That's the growth area. We're certainly not out of it in jobs just yet. Maybe we see a little uptick in the stock market, but it's pretty bad. And when I can sit here, or stand here, excuse me, and say, from this point last year to this point this year, the Downingtown Area School District in total gained 200 students, that's a pretty big deal. Because areas that were growing 6 and 7 years ago, at the height of the boom, the housing boom, areas in the Poconos, and even areas right here, are not growing to the extent that we saw. We couldn't even predict that. Our demographers never came close in predicting that 200-person swing this year for us. So we're faced with the reality of numbers. And what the board did that I thought was very good is to bring in Christian, who just stood up, perfect timing, and McKissick and Associates to help us with this. So we're able to use some GPS systems to work through this. Certainly we're here to thank the committee, and I know you are, positively or negatively. There was a lot of work put into this. It wasn't done capriciously. It wasn't done on a whim. It was there was a lot of thought put into the whole plan, months of thought put into this, and many looks at it. In many respects, the elementary was more difficult than the secondary, because the secondary redistricting dealt with about 100 to 130 kids, and it dealt with a neighborhood, since that was a parameter that the board and the committee agreed to, that dealt with a neighborhood closest to the area that had to move. So there's only a few areas in the secondary, so the elementary took probably a lot of time, because there really are hundreds of movements in the elementary program, but the secondary, not quite as much. So we're here tonight on the secondary plan, so I can focus a little bit on that for you, change a little bit of my opening from the last 2 meetings that were elementary focused, to talk a little bit about this. You know, we're looking at the other process part of this, which I thought was thoughtful, on the part of our board is that nothing's happening next year, nothing at all. We're in a period of study and growth, and we're able to begin our process of transition. So our hope is that throughout this year we studied it, we had these meetings, we came to a proposal, then the board looked at it and voted on it, hopefully this spring. I'm not sure when. I think our June meeting is still in the spring, so I'll stick with the spring. The board will vote on it, and then that gives us a year. It gives everybody a year. Plan it out, take a look at it, and I thought that was another positive part. Nobody's jumping next year and being ripped out and moved. We can plan a little bit more, which we've learned in transitions. Introduce people to the new school, talk about the transition process, and that takes time. So why do this rebalancing at all? Well, we started with that, and it's really to account for potential growth. So I don't think anybody in here doesn't understand that. The balancing issue is looking at how we're going to fill these bins in. Because we have a lot of people say, why don't you build a new school, why don't you add on? Well, I think we're trying to stay away from the costs of square footage. I think we're trying to stay away. Plus, we have the room. We have the existing room in our schools. So that's why the rebalancing. And it would allow us to add programs, we hope. And now I am talking more, my hope in elementary is if we can create space in our elementary school, maybe we can look at more robust early childhood programs. Maybe we can look at different things if we had the space. Right now, you're not seeing it, but Pickering Valley, schools like Pickering Valley and Lionville Elementary are filled. So we're here to talk about the secondary, and there are your numbers, and it's the same issue. The other reason that we're here tonight, in a secondary perspective, in rebalancing, is about children. It's purely about children. Now, so let me show you what I mean. So if we're looking at opportunities for children, what I believe, and in my heart of hearts I know the committee is looking at, and even proposing this, even being here tonight on a secondary program, are opportunities for children. So if you take Lionville Middle School, because a major part of the secondary rebalancing is the middle schools. In my mind, it has very little to do with the high school, and frankly, the phase-in process doesn't really allow it to start in high school for years. But it has a lot to do with our middle level. And there it is. There's our numbers as of today. So we've got 1318 at Downingtown Middle and 1602 at Lionville Middle. So you have a delta of 283 students. So you say, well, Larry, what does that mean with kids? Well, here's what it means to me as the educator. Because I remember as a high school principal, being in a district, I'm going to tell you a quick story, and I don't want to take time because this time is about you, where we had two high schools. And we had a superintendent come in and said, I'd like to make it one high school. And I spoke out against it. I said, why? Why would we ever do that? We have two high schools. We've got opportunities for our students in two high schools. Why would we cut those opportunities? So part of what we're looking at today is the statistical fact that it's easier for a Downingtown, right now, for a child in Downingtown Middle to make the baseball team because there's cuts, make the basketball team, get a lead in the play. It's easier for a Downingtown Middle School child than it is for a Lionville Middle School child. That's the balancing. And people say to me, oh Larry, it looks like you guys are having fun with balancing and redistricting. No, it is balancing. Because balancing is opportunities. And it's about children. So it does become a pretty big deal. If we go to East and West, we see a difference of 1663 and 1487, a little shy of 200. Not quite as great, but again, the whole second, not the whole, but a very big part of this secondary redistricting is our middle level. And balancing it. We've got the schools have the space. It's now the opportunities that kids have to take advantage of it. Now, you could even take the magnet school. Positive or negative, whatever you might think of the magnet school, the problem with the magnet school is we can't get everybody in that wants to get in. But the opportunity that a child has at Downingtown Middle is stronger than the opportunity that a child has at Lineville Middle to get into that. And you can say, well, change this and change that, and then you throw off your balances. We have 100 from each area, each side of the district in an equity fashion, and we can't take a proportion. So again, it's about the balance. That's a part of the reason that we're here today. So given that, I think what we're going to do, I think if there's a couple of things, and we'll let that go. The phasing. Okay, let me just let me end with the secondary phasing. So what's going to happen in the elementary programs in make sure I get the right years, 14, 15. In 2014, 2015, we hope, and we're on track, so we can, and we had a good winter, so we're hoping that that 6th grade center opens on time, ready to rock and roll. We've got everything in line for that to open not this September, next September, 2014. When that happens, elementary children in the elementary redistricting will be taken from their schools. Now, we do have a discussion point that was brought up, and it was brought up in committee, and it was brought up again here, of too many transitions, like the 5th grade child. After they were in 4th grade in one school, then they go, at 2014, they go to 5th grade in another school, then 6th and 7th. The committee's going to look at that. The board's going to look at it. I don't know what's going to come of it, but we're going to look at those transitions. But in 2014, 2015, for all intents and purposes, an elementary child will be taken out of their school, placed into another school. So if they were in 1st grade at Lineville, they could easily see themselves in 2nd grade at Euclid Hills in 2014, 2015. We didn't like that for the secondary. Although I'm told that it happened before. That when we redistricted our secondary children before, we took them right out. And we said, you were at East as a sophomore, you're going to West as a junior. We felt that that would be really difficult as you're tracked to be a cougar and a whippet. We wanted to take the culture of the tracking because, again, it all begins in middle school, folks. From my vantage point, the high school is a nice residual effect of what we get out of the middle school balancing. So once a child hits middle school, what our committee decided is that they will stay there. They will stay in that track. Now we understand that creates some problems too. I've heard from people that if we did that, one child could be a senior at East and another one a freshman at West. We heard that. We get that. The only other alternative is to rip everybody out. And we might have a plan for that also. So that's not the end of the world to us. We may have a plan for that, in an option for you or what have you. But the phase-in wouldn't really start until 2016, 2017, right? No, 14, 15 is the, excuse me, 14, 15 is the 6th grade center. 15, 16 is when your children would now be affected. So they would be the children that are in 4th grade today. And those children would, in effect, be moved, since I'm assuming, I'm making the assumption, everybody here is from Williamsburg. This is the only area that we're here for. So not everybody, okay, well, many people. In the elementary ones, since hundreds of people are moving, we have people from all over the district. Here it might be a little more centralized, but there are others. So what's going to happen at that point is in 4th grade, you would go to, your children would go to Downingtown Middle. And everybody else would stay tracked where they are, or possibly provided an option. I'm not sure. But we could look at it. But basically they're staying in their track. Since they started at Lineville, they're going to be a Cougar, they'll stay a Cougar. And then it would just simply, for us, it's a 6-year phasing. It's a 6-year phasing, starting when we all come together in the 6th grade center for the first time. So they're the big picture items for the secondary redistricting. And I certainly, as a spokesman for the committee and the board, I wanted to make sure you understood where we're coming from. You could blow all the things that I said up. You can say, and we want to listen to you. We truly do. But that's the reasons, the big picture reasons as to why we're here. So with that, Jane, do you have anything to add? Anything?
We're going to do the groups.
Would you rather do the groups? That's fine. It looks like we can do that.
We've set up the, first of all, we are videotaping, just so everyone's aware. 7 of the board members are here with us tonight. 2 could not be here, but they will have access to be able to watch the film and the comments that are made later. What we thought we would do is we have the signs up in groups, and in the group is an administrator who's on the committee, a board member, and a couple of committee members. And we're going to ask that you sit down and talk with them and give some of your concerns and express your opinions to them, and they will take notes that will be given back to the committee and the board. And then we'll reconvene, and you're still welcome to get up and talk. It's not an attempt not to let people talk. Well, I know this said till 8:15, but I would say by 8 o'clock we'll come back, and maybe 1 or 2 members from your group will want to get up and speak. Maybe you'll still want to get up and speak, that's fine. But then we'll follow the policy that we have, that you have 5 minutes at the microphone to express your thoughts and concerns. So with that, I guess I'd ask that you gravitate toward a sign, 20 people in a group. We have 6 groups, 20, 30 people in a group. And
this way, everyone can speak, and we're going to take notes. So Marie and I think, are over here on C. Who said? Do we have a list, Pat? Do we know who's?
Yeah.
Jane, you want to direct people?
I have Mr. Hurley, Mr. Mulvey, Suzanne, and Jonathan Stillman, who's here at A. Nick Indiglio, principal at Downtown Middle School. Jackie Spence, Jackie Reardon at B. Dr. Mussolini, Maria Ritchie, Thomas Briscoe, Ryan Walters at C. Linda Lai, Jamie Mailer, and Patty Woodlum at D. John Lynn Whitman at P and myself are at E, and Francesca, Bob Gorzik, Julie, Joe Mendez at F.
Hi, thanks. I'm your note taker for Group A.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, oh, you give them out and then